It's been quite a week of it for the paranormal, and there's been a lot that has been going on. So this is kind of a roundup of all the roundups of all the things that have gone on this week, in case you've missed it. And it's just, I guess, maybe just a video to chuck on in the background if you want to get caught up with the paranormal tea while you do whatever it is that you do best on a Sunday. Anyway, to begin things, we've got The Boys. Now, The Boys have obviously been one of the biggest and most prominent joking paranormal YouTube channels, and also one of the biggest paranormal channels, but they may be about to lose one of their biggest assets. A big paranormal channel has just taken a huge hit as one of their members, and one of the more beloved members of the group, may be departing from the group indefinitely. And it's still up in the air whether this is completely legit or whether this is some kind of publicity stunt, maybe a prank of some kind. You know, it's not out of the realms of possibility for this group. But it comes from The Boys. Now, The Boys are a very, very large paranormal YouTube channel. Well, sort of paranormal. They do a little bit of everything, but paranormal is kind of one of their bigger things, right? And they've got 5.9 million subscribers. Absolutely huge. But they do a lot of paranormal content alongside, you know, some jovial stuff. But paranormal is kind of their most popular stuff, right? You know, they get millions upon millions of views, and they kind of do it in quite a jovial, fun kind of way. And one of the biggest members, or most, I wouldn't say entertaining, but, you know, one of the more fan favourite members by the name of Eddie, right, may be walking away from The Boys, as over on their Twitter page, The Boys, can't believe he left The Boys, rip Eduardino VR, you will be missed, skull emoji with the RIP, and then Eddie's face on the tombstone. Now, this has made huge rounds over on social media, right? Like, people just can't believe that he would walk away, but it's not out of the realms of possibility. Like I've said before, they do a lot of prank kind of content. This could just be some kind of elaborate joke, but, you know, there's a lot of speculation with regards to this, to what might be happening, right? Now, obviously, with regards to the post itself, it kind of came out of left field, out of nowhere. It just kind of happened, and it obviously, like I say, came from the official account. But it was posted on June 18th, so only a few days ago, and the post obviously refers to Eddie VR, a member of The Boys and the YouTube group known for VR content, memes, and fan interactions, as mentioned in the post. And the tone of the post obviously suggests quite a playful or exaggerated mourning of Eddie VR's departure, but there's obviously not a lot of further details, and they haven't stated anything else publicly. They've just kind of put the post out there and left it down to like the response. Now, Eddie VR is one of the more prominent figures, right? Even on his own YouTube channel, he's got quite a large following, 7.4 million subscribers, and he does obviously a lot of VR kind of content, and it slaps. He's quite funny, he's jovial, he's fun, he's engaging, right? He's a very engaging member of the group. And his role within the spooky content that they do usually is for, like, you know, a bit of comedic relief. He's got a great dynamic with the rest of the group and with fan engagement, right? So because he's already well known for his spooky content with his VR gaming, it meshes quite well with what The Boys do as an entire group. Now, you know, for him to be leaving and leveraging his, like, Mexican humor and horror passion in VR games and IRL ghost hunts, his TikTok reactions and paranormal videos obviously also draw significant engagement despite debates over authenticity, which, you know, is by the by when it comes to this kind of thing. There is no verified evidence of him actually leaving the group, and his spooky content remains a fan favourite, evident of his most recent subreddit activity, for example, and X sentiment. But yeah, obviously there's a lot of other stuff as well that's going on behind the scenes. So I believe he's recently become a father as well, which obviously is heavily time consuming, incredibly time consuming, as you can probably imagine. So, you know, he might be taking a temporary step away to try and, you know, focus on being a parent, being a father, being more active with his children. I don't know. You know, and the other question as well is, what does this mean for The Boys YouTube channel? Obviously, he is quite a large portion of that, right? In terms of his personality, his humor, his like, he's part of the reason as to why a lot of people enjoy watching The Boys. Would him stepping away from the group potentially be a detriment to the group? Could it be you know, quite like detrimental to in terms of views? Would, if he walks away, would some of the fan base walk away as well? It's a tough one to know. You know, he's still quite active over on his own, well, not as active on his own YouTube channel. He only really posts once in a blue moon, right? But, you know, he's obviously, it's quite a big role that he plays within the boys group as well. So I guess the question is this serious, as most of us think it could possibly be? Is this a bit of a joke, which, you know, is also a strong possibility? Even if you look down in the comments, some of the comments are quite jovial. He can't leave if you steal his baby. So, you know, obviously he's just had a baby. So, you know, people just kind of be funny. That can't be true. Sad emoji. Look at how you massacred my boy. Please say psych. I don't want to believe it. Nah, my man. What's actually happening? Grok, is this real? Let's see what Grok's response was. Seems to be a joke about Eddie VR leaving the boys, not his actual passing. Obviously, we know that, like, that he's not actually deceased, obviously. You know, people just saying, like, this can't be real, don't let this be real, don't play with me, you know. Basically, people don't want this to be real. And I think that sentiment alone goes to show his how big of a part he plays within this YouTube group and how much people absolutely love the boys. It is also worth noting that in the description, he is still named, right, as one of the groups, right? He's still named, so he's not been removed from that, and this obviously came out 3 days ago at the time of recording. So, yeah, it's just part of everyone wants it to be fake. Part of some people are like, well, is it real? Like, who knows with these people? Because they are such a lively, jovial group, no one actually knows if this is a legitimate case of, is he leaving? Is he staying? Ultimately, what do you guys think? I think Jay Cart's made a video about it. He's made some very similar points as to what I've made here. You know, it'll be interesting to see what happens moving forwards if he continues to be in videos, if they actually elaborate on this post any further. Obviously, it's very cryptic, you know? Who even knows if they do, if he is leaving? It could just be a massive joke. Who the hell knows? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Would you like to see a bit of a rebrand for the boys? Do you think that they, like, you know, him walking away could be a good thing? I don't know. I think he brings the life and energy to the videos, if I'm perfectly honest. So it would be a huge loss to lose Eddie for the videos. I don't think they would struggle without him. But, you know, I think his presence will be missed. Again, though, I'm very curious to see what you guys have to say down in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to jump scare the hell out of that like button. I think we just hit 23,000 subscribers. So let's go for 30,000. That's a huge number. 30,000 subscribers. Following up from this, we've got some more highlighting news, which is Selena Spooky Boo and Colby Chris coming together to create their own movie-style horror movie, which seems, I'm not going to lie, incredibly exciting. Something that we're starting to see more and more with paranormal YouTube content creators is that they are starting to branch out into not just YouTube content, but they're also trying to delve into other things like theatrics and movies and stuff like this. We've seen it with Sam and Colby already. Obviously last year and the year before that, and I think the year before that, they hit the silver screen in many cinemas across the US with their... But it was basically like a glorified long episode of Sam and Colby, but it was put on the silver screen and it was like a pay-to-come entry kind of thing, typical of what you would usually see for a movie. But now, the female versions of Sam and Colby in Selena Spooky Boo and Call Me Chris are also trying to delve into that territory too. And it's interesting to see because they've got a brand new movie coming out called House of Eden, and it's coming out on Shudder. Now, Shudder, for anyone that doesn't know, is a YouTube channel that basically promotes horror movies, essentially. If you go over there, they basically have got the rights to a lot of movies like Chucky, Hell Motel, The Creep Tales, Dracula, you know, all sorts of different things. All right, and they've now licensed and helped to produce a movie with Call Me Chris and also Selena Spooky Boo. And it's interesting because it is called, like I said, House of Eden, and it is an upcoming, it's like labelled as this found footage horror movie. And I think the idea of it is this like cabin in the woods style vibe, or the Blair Witch Project, where it's like this, or Paranormal Activity, where you've got this like kind of raw, unfiltered kind of movie vibe that which is a little bit like a YouTube video, but it's going to be like a scripted movie based off of what I've seen. Obviously, you know, we've only got an official like release or teaser trailer for now, but it's going to be coming out in theaters on July 25th of 2025, and it's going to be distributed by RLJE Films and also Shudder, like I've mentioned. And it marks a feature debut for the social media stars Call Me Chris and Selena Spooky Boo, who have combined their following of over 70 million across TikTok and YouTube, and starring alongside Myers and Jason Christopher Mayer, who also served as editor and co-cinematographer for the film. And the trio produced a film under a Spooky AF Productions. So obviously all of these people came together. Now, interestingly, the story is supposed to follow the investigators Chris, Selena, and the videographer Jay, who expect routine scares during their latest investigation. After they were mysteriously rerouted to an abandoned house deep in the woods and encounter an ancient malevolent spirit that triggers chaos. With missing crew members and eerie phenomena, the film is rated R for pervasive language, bloody violence, and graphic nudity. Now, obviously, these people like Shudder and RLJE, for example, have acquired global rights, with Shudder's Samuel Zimmerman praising its creative DIY spirit and scary impact. Now, Call Me Chris, so Chris Collins, is the producer, I believe, of the movie, and she's also written the short horror film, which is great. And she's also emphasised its immersive, terrifying big screen experience. So we'll take a little look at the teaser trailer together, and then we'll take a look a bit more in depth at the details of the entire thing, because there is a lot to it. Obviously, nothing officially kind of announced, but from information that I found online, there's some interesting details which could give you a bit of insight with this movie coming up.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Spooky AF production.
All right, we gotta learn how to use these cameras if we're gonna be filming the next few nights.
I know how to work a camera. No promises. I read about a girl going missing here like 60 years ago. This place is insane. There's no power. Let's check out this creepy-ass house. I'm gonna be honest, I don't feel good about this. Something's happening in this house, and we need to figure out what it is. This is used by the ghost to communicate with us. Selena? We could actually catch something for real.
I'm not cool with this anymore.
Now, I'm not going to lie to you. For we'll call it an amateur kind of movie, because this is obviously the first time that Chris has ever done anything like this, right? It looks pretty decent, straight off the bat, straight off the get-go. You know, these people have a lot of skeptical people on their YouTube videos, and this is the kind of thing that I feel like they are so well suited for. Like, they are huge personalities, and to kind of bring those two together, we see the chemistry that they've got in videos on YouTube, for example. Bring that together for the silver screen, you could make some pretty big magic. Now, like I said there, we already know that these guys are pretty good friends. I think they lived together for a period of time. They may still live together. I don't know that, but for now. But, you know, the fact that it gives off that kind of Blair Witchy kind of, you know, not it's not like a horror movie following a family like The Conjuring, for example. It's like that idea of the raw, I've got the camera filming myself and I'm filming everything else, like Paranormal Activity, for example, where you follow the cameras, stationary cameras, and also the video cameras of the people living in the house, for example. And it gives it that more eerie vibe, like you're actually immersed within it, which I quite like. I do think that's pretty cool. Now, in terms of budget, it's actually like unknown, the full budget of the movie, but from the information that I've kind of pulled together, you know, I should imagine it would be quite common for this to be a low budget independent, like kind of indie film, because, you know, it'll probably be crowdsourced by Selena and Chris, with the production company probably chipping in as well, I should imagine. You know, and given its status as like a found footage kind of film, and a first-time filmmaker Chris Collins and Selena Spooky Boo under their small production company, a Spooky AF production, is likely to have made you know, quite a modest budget, let's say, typical of this kind of genre as well, like being a horror indie film. Now, for a little bit of context, for example, horror movies of a similar caliber, like Late Night with the Devil, that had a budget of $2 million. The Blair Witch Project in 1999 was produced on $60,000. And, you know, House on Eden, it's probably got somewhere in the ballpark of them two, like within that range. I'd be surprised if the budget went over $1 million for this movie. It doesn't mean it's not. It doesn't mean that it has, but I'd be intrigued to see, like, if the finances ever came out, just to see what kind of budget they were working with to make this movie, and then to see how it goes with response, because obviously these guys have already got a very large cult-like following who will ride or die with Selena and Chris. So, you know, and also let's not forget their partners as well, you know, who are also quite big in social media. And they're friends with Sam and Colby, who will also most likely be promoting this stuff for them. And you've also got the likes of everyone else who they have ever collabed with, you know. So they've got some pretty big names and pretty big hitters. And, you know, I could see this going on to be quite a success. I'd be intrigued to see, though. What do you guys think? Will you be going out of your way to go and watch this? Are you intrigued to see how it does? Truly, I would love to go and watch this. If it comes, I don't know where it's releasing right now. But if it released in the UK, I'd give it a go. Then we have to take a bit of a back step with the jolliness, because we've got A1 Solutions calling out Jordan from J-Kart's Art and Andrew Stonerock once again in one of the most delusional and deranged ways possible. The situation for J-Kart, Andrew Stonerock against A1 Solution is just beyond anything that you could have possibly fathomed it would ever become when this all kicked off around 6, 7, 8 months ago. That's how long this has been going on for. So Jordan from J-Kart's Art has recently just dropped a brand new video, basically an expose on everything recently, because he's absolutely sick and tired of the constant harassment that he, Andrew Stonerock and many others have been getting from A1 Solutions, and also some very threatening emails, right? So he dropped a video titled "The Harassment Continues, so I'll leave this here, A1 Solutions," right? And within that video, it was, like I say, a bit of a tell-all kind of situation, giving everyone an update of what's been going on behind the scenes, because there has been a lot that has gone on behind the scenes, like, for example, ongoing harassment, like where he claims to be, obviously, well, he is a victim of persistent harassment by an individual named Anthony Tapia, who has not ceased despite multiple opportunities for him to try and stop. And obviously this is something that we've seen in multiple videos across both Andrew Stonerock and J-Kart. Let's not forget, by the way, for everyone that may have forgotten, this all spawned from an Instagram unfollow. Yeah. So in a recent live stream that J-Kart's did, Anthony Tapia's, it popped up in the live chat, and he was talking, but also on his own live stream over on Twitch, which took place, I believe, around June 10th. It was highlighted where Tapia allegedly admits to knowing private details about conversations involving A1, Jordan, and also Brooklyn, who's actually known by as Becky for many others. Now, Brooklyn's identity was obviously a central figure in the conflict, and she's had her real name exposed by Anthony's community. and she lives in a specific state, which Tapia references despite not living there himself, raising suspicions about his intentions. So obviously, you know, he'll claim not to know anything about it, but the evidence and the Freudian slips, anyone that doesn't know what a Freudian slip is, it's basically where you accidentally spill the truth, like, unknowingly, and you accidentally, like, just kind of blurt out what you do actually know. Now, there's a very confronting strategy to all of this. So to kind of provoke a confession, Brooklyn's brother and Andrew Stonerock joined Tapia's live stream, insinuating legal consequences, for example, prison, to elicit a reaction. And, you know, Jordan believes this exposed Tapia's true nature and behaviour. Now, Tapia's mention of rain in Oregon during this live stream is presented as suspicious, obviously by Jordan himself, as he does not actually live there, and the weather claim was actually inaccurate, suggesting he was trying to intimidate, referencing Brooklyn's location. And then there's private messages that have also been, you know, spoken about. So Jordan actually shares conversations from both June 8th, 2025, where Tapia tries to interfere with Jordan's plans to make and makes derogatory comments about Brooklyn, suggesting and questioning why she defends Jordan. And then the investigation. So there is an ongoing investigation, you know, already we know about this, which seems to be causing Tapia some paranoia, although Jordan notes that it's a lengthy and very stressful process for everyone involved, not just A1, not just Jordan, not just Andrew Stonerock or Brooklyn. Everyone involved, you know, is going through an incredibly stressful time. And, you know, it does seem to be consuming a lot of people's time, because this person is... I've seen some stuff, BTS, not my place to share it or talk about it, but, you know, what I have seen is utterly... some people will be like, why do these people care so much, you know, if they just ignore him? No, ignoring him won't work. They tried this, right? And from the messages that I've seen, I'm not sure if they've been shared publicly, I'm not going to talk about it in too much depth, but the messages that I've seen are enough to warrant this level of response from Andrew Stonerock, from Jordan and Brooklyn, right? It's absolutely is, like, you know, completely justified their actions. Anyway, moving on, right? Obviously that's kind of the crux of the video from Jordan. He's very frustrated, it would seem, within the video. He does expose pretty much everything that's been going on behind the scenes. And of course, you know, even at the end of the video, Jordan does express frustration with Tapia's continued harassment, particularly targeting their families, which is absolutely bang out of order, and states that even an apology would not undo the damage that has been caused, and they urge Tapia to stop, warning that his actions are adding to his pile of wrongdoings, right? And obviously, everything that happens now is just evidence that will be used against him, and you know, from what I've seen, believe me, it will be used as evidence. Now, that's not where it ended, as over on Jake Hart's YouTube community tab, where he makes posts and stuff, right? You know, there's been a few videos and mentions, but obviously Amanda Cran's YouTube account, Anthony Tapia, you know, these people are burner accounts from what I can gather, that are following people that are involved in the situation, harassing and all the rest of it, spreading just vile abuse. I think I actually had Amanda Crans follow me at one point and send me a lovely message, which I swiftly deleted. Not before sending it to the appropriate people, but again, block these people. This is now on Facebook, this is on Twitch, this is Discord, sorry. This is, I'm not sure where this is. That's Discord as well, right? So all of these places where these people are getting shared stuff, but then straight after Jake Hart's dropped his video, so now he's bringing it back to YouTube. Absolutely unbelievable. So Anthony Tapia stated, Jake Hart, Andrew Stonerock, this is in their own community tab. Stop blocking me on everything. That's just mean and rude as hell. I'm trying to have a conversation with you guys and the constant blocking is just mean. I would also like it if Jordan can get Brooklyn under control. She's being mean and a major bitch to me, and that's not needed. I mean, we can see the level of, like, cluster B personality types here. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a person who is able to, you know, diagnose people. right? And I'm not going to try to. But if you Google cluster B personality traits, this is it. This is it. Anyway, Jake Hart's responded to this stating, I have no sympathy for scumbags like you. After all this time, you refuse to learn a single thing about responsibility and class. All you do is shit talk and threaten us. Unlike you, we all have lives and things that we need to do. The law will handle you when it's time. The time is right. A1 Solutions, aka Amanda Crans 7, Anthony Tapia _7, Anthony Tapia _77, Anthony Tapia _777, Anthony Tapia _7777, Anthony Tapia _77777. I can't even read all those sevens. Basically, he's called out all of these burner accounts and been like, I know these are all you, and whatever else you go by. Anyway, Andrew Stonerock also then chimed in on this, stating, you are not trying to have a conversation, you are harassing, bullying, and trying to make demands. You're blackmailing and trying to coerce cooperation with Jordan, and I am under fear of you having Brooklyn hurt. You ain't gonna, you ain't right in the head. You've been reported to the cops, and it's only a matter of time. Go touch grass while you can. Your time is running out. Obviously, that is a bit of a, a warning shot, and rightfully so. But then even over on Andrew Stonerock's Twitter page, right, he's been sharing all sorts of stuff. So he sent me 20 plus emails full of threats in 12 hours. This ends now. That was on the 6th of June, where he put the wolf in sheep's clothing. A1 Solutions, you're really trying to piggyback off this tragedy, and obviously this is in response to something else. You're really trying to compare yourself to that poor girl. You're a bully, you're a harasser, you're a narcissist, and you're a poor manipulator. How dare you compare yourself to her? And then it's this image right here, Michaela Raines, and then this, basically comparing himself to her. Interesting response right there. And then again, more threats from these pages. Anthony Tapia, 777, about 1 billion sevens. Since Brooklyn just blocked me again, she has 24 hours to end her friendship with Jordan. If she doesn't, I will have her hurt. Again, that is a black and white threat. Like, it's kind of unnerving to see the level of craziness that is going on right now. Because this person is just so brazen with their threats now. This is someone is upsetty spaghetti. Grow up and take accountability, dude. You've been caught and I'm holding your ass to the flame. I really hate you guys. And then another one. I really hope you die a slow and painful death. I'm genuinely speechless. Genuinely, truly speechless. I don't know. I just don't know what to say. Andrew Stonerock seems to be trying to rally support over on Twitter as well. So he's, tagged in Asmongold, Net Anarchist. I'm not sure if that's meant to be the Internet Anarchist, Paranormal Files. A lot more stuff, right? H3 Productions, obviously Ethan Klein. Basically trying to rally as much support as he can for this story to try and get it out there so more eyeballs can be on the situation. It is unnerving. It truly is. And, it's gone beyond just Instagram unfollows, which feels ridiculous to say, but it's the truth. And now people are getting harassed online, threatened, These people live in the same country as this person. There is a genuine threat there. Like, as much as it, some people might say, oh, it's just empty threats. No, I don't think it is. Like, this person has shown the level of, they're not a safe person, right? And it's, with people like this, you can't predict the next move. You don't know what's coming next, because I don't even think they know what's coming next. Over on A1 Solutions YouTube channel, it's as if nothing's even happening, right? The last video that was made was 3 weeks ago about the whole situation. After that, absolutely nothing, right? There's nothing. It's just as if he's just cracking on with life and letting this kind of go on behind the scenes. I'm truly, dumbfounded by the whole situation, as you can probably imagine. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Obviously, please go and support and show support to Jake Hartz and also Andrew Stonerock, because, I'm sure that any support that they can get right now will be much appreciated, especially, you know, this is very consuming for them. Jordan's got his birthday coming up, bless him, very soon. I think I saw it was on like the 2nd of July, right? He made a post about it on YouTube. Like, he doesn't want to have to be dealing with this over his birthday. Like, no one does. And no one should have to either. But such is the life, I guess, that we're in. And Sam and Colby are back in the limelight once again, getting called out for antics that may not necessarily be their fault revolving the copyright system, but ultimately they're getting the brunt of the blame. Sam and Colby are back in the firing line once again. This time it is from the debunking community, as they are accusing Sam and Colby of leveraging the copyright system to try and silence critics. This has come from a multitude of paranormal debunking channels, including Beardo, including Mythos Paranormal, and a couple of others like the Side Eye Guy as well, who's also had issues, not with the copyright system with Sam and Colby, but also, yeah, I think it came from Twin Paranormal on the Side Eye Guy's side. Now, the copyright system on YouTube is a very fickle thing, okay? If someone claims even a second of your video, every cent or penny of ad revenue made on that video goes directly to the copyright claimee, unless it's able to be combated. And that's quite a tricky thing to do as well, because you can submit a form and, you know, say on YouTube why you believe your video falls under fair use X, Y, and Z. YouTube will take the neutral party stand of this, but it's between you and the claimee. And the claimee can just literally reject it straight off the bat, and then you can either appeal it to court or you can just let it go. By that point, most people just kind of let it go. But that's how the copyright system on YouTube works. It's a very fickle thing. It's very difficult to maneuver. And music's usually the hot thing that people kind of get in trouble for, but there's features on there to do that. But debunking channels are apparently having a lot of bother with Sam and Colby, and channels like that with the copyright system. A video was made about 4 weeks ago by Mythos Paranormal, cited copyrighted again. They don't like reactions, yet have a reaction channel. And it's one of those, it was a video where I think Mythos is on holiday, and it's a very scenic video throughout where he's at different points and places, and he's talking about how his videos have been copyrighted by Sam and Colby, but talks about the hypocrisy of that because they themselves have a reaction channel and they react to YouTube content in a very similar manner, but they seem to be able to get away with it. Now, Beardo has also chimed in with his 10 cents recently in a video titled Sam and Colby Stop This Now, in which he basically talks about how he's been copyright struck, or claimed at least, by Sam and Colby, but a claim can turn into a strike if it is appealed and rejected multiple times, right? So Beardo at the very beginning states that his video was intended to be a paranormal sins video, where he obviously talks about you know, a paranormal video and does the whole sin count and all the rest of it. But to try and increase the visibility of the video, because apparently they don't perform very well, he's decided to just make it a straight reaction video, debunking video, whatever he typically does. But he was claimed by a company called Spotter 3. Now, Spotter 3 are Sam and Colby's management company. If you don't know about management companies, obviously they kind of represent you and your content, and they basically have your best interest at heart, because if you make money, they make money, is typically the way that it goes. And obviously when it comes to Sam and Colby, they make a shit ton of money, so they're trying to keep their assets in, you know, intact. Now, Beardo argues that the content that he created actually falls under fair use, and shows very cleanly why he feels that is the case by showing his editing software. As they heavily edited Sam and Colby's footage by adding filters, altering pitch, overlaying webcam and text to transform it, not merely copy it. Now, all you have to do to claim it to be a reaction video, to be fair, is just have your face in the corner. If you've just got the entire video re-uploaded to your channel, then that's a fair thing to kind of take out. Or if it's like clipped up sections of your video that you didn't give permission to use, then you've got a fair point on your hands. But then there's obviously a criticism of Sam and Colby themselves. So Beardo accuses Sam and Colby of producing misleading or exaggerated paranormal content to manipulate their audience, citing emotional manipulation and staged events, like what happened at the Conjuring House, or a fake, quote, split up narrative. And they highlight the hypocrisy of Sam and Colby, who run a reaction channel with 2.2 million subscribers, yet allegedly silence critics via copyright claims, which again is a very similar narrative to that of Mythos Paranormal. And then he goes on to talk about the management company in regards to Sam and Colby, so Spotter 3, and basically accused them of abusing the copyright system, which to try and silence critics, essentially claiming ad revenue from videos or issuing strikes when fair use actually applies. Now, this is a huge issue across the entirety of YouTube, not just the paranormal side of it. Everyone struggles with this. I've got loads of channels. I think I've got like 12 channels on the go, right? And I struggle with the copyright system like 9 times out of 10 when it comes to uploading videos, because it's a very fickle thing, and if someone detects that you've got their content, and the worst one is when people license content, so like Dukin Media are the thorn in my side, because they license everything that goes even semi-viral. And then the second that you use it, they will strike that video and they will get it taken down, or they will claim all of the ad revenue for it. It is the most frustrating thing. And this is very similar. I don't know what situation the management company have got with Sam and Colby. They may own the rights to the content, which might be why they're so heavy on claiming. They might just, represent the content and maybe don't want Sam and Colby painted in a negative connotation. I don't know. But, Beardo seems to be fighting the case alongside the likes of Mythos. It's... So Beardo then goes on to talk about the impacts on, him being a quote-unquote small creator. So he's got sub 60,000 subscribers, right? And notes the financial and legal disadvantage against wealthy entities like Sam and Colby, or even Spotter 3, who can afford prolonged legal battles. And the copyright claim prevent monetization, and a threat of strikes discourages appeals, effectively silencing smaller creators, which it can do. Because like I said, you do the initial counterclaim, and then if the claimee rejects that, you then have to either just, bow down and be like, fine, and let it slide, or you can appeal it, but then it'll be like in a court kind of situation where you would literally claim it through a court, and then people would look at it, and it then goes out of YouTube's hands completely. And then you're starting to wonder how crazy is it that a court case is based over copyright stuff, because someone called someone else fake and someone else didn't like it, so they then just struck the entire video. It's quite a serious thing to happen. So to circumvent the claims, Beardo plans to further edit the video, so they're gonna knuckle down with it to align with fair use, and they encourage supporters of different paranormal channels like Spaghetti Paranormal, for example, who is a smaller debunking channel, and warn about Spotter 3's broader pattern of targeting critics, including those discussing Mr. Beast, for example. Mr. Beast's a bit of a different one. The content that criticizes Mr. Beast, for example, doesn't necessarily get struck. I've always noticed that whenever I mention Mr. Beast in a video, it never performs very well, almost as if that's more of a YouTube thing. That's me being speculative and trying to theorize, but there's a possibility there. Now, Beardo did, follow through with what he initially said he was going to do. And he uploaded the video, Sam and Colby, I Will Never Forgive This, which was the original reaction video that he was planning on doing. Obviously, huge disclaimer at the start to try and get it to fall under fair use, all the rest of it. You know how it goes. It happens all the time, right? And within the video, he then goes on to roast Sam and Colby and the content that they create. Now, obviously, it's a bit of an interesting one, because I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of that, because it's kind of irrelevant to the point, which is Sam and Colby kind of getting their feet on the stone to say. But it's an interesting one, because obviously Sam and Colby have been the target of skepticism and a lot of issues. But on the other hand, right, with them being represented by a company, is this necessarily Sam and Colby's fault, right? And that's the question that I've got. Obviously, I know what it's like to have some shady management, to say the very least, who do things on your behalf without you being aware of it. That's not the case for me now, I must say, but I've had that in the past where people have done things on my behalf and then I found out about it later and I've been like, the fuck are you playing at? And they've been like, oh, we thought it had your best interest at heart. No, it had their best interest at heart. Now, Sam and Colby might like be completely none the wiser that their content is getting copyright strikes to other creators. They may be none the wiser. They may well be aware. But, you know, there's obviously, when it's Sam and Colby who are the face of it, they are going to get the brunt of the shit for it. But behind the scenes, they might not even be aware that this is even going on. They may not be aware of who Beardo is. They may not even be aware that this video's dropped. They may not even be aware that their content is being used in such a capacity. Who knows? What do you guys think about the Paranormal Tea for this week? Be sure to subscribe to be kept up to date. Do you like this kind of Sunday catch-up kind of thing? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. Down there, jump to the hell out of that like button and subscribe. And until next time, I'll speak to you later. Peace.